Well, Bindi, make yourself comfortable,
Mhm.
and as comfortable as possible.
Mhm.
And yeah, maybe put some pillows for your head, so you can, that's it. Very nice. If you need to put your head back, are you okay? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Better?
Yes.
All good?
Yes.
Fantastic, lovely, okay. Alright, so just let yourself relax as much as you would like, however it is natural for you to relax.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe just feel the relaxation of your body, and feel how your feet are relaxing maybe, and how your legs are relaxing, how your whole body is relaxing, how your eyes are relaxing and causing you to feel very relaxed by the way your eyes have gently closed. And as you're relaxing and you're hearing the sounds around you, the sounds that are there, and then the absence of louder sounds. And just feel that comfort of the pillows behind your back, the comfort of the seat you're sitting on, the support that the seat is giving you, and the support of your feet on the ground, and how that support is giving you that comfort. And just feeling that this is a really secure, nice way to be within yourself. And as we're going to go through this whole thing that you have going on with your smoking, you might want to see in your mind what has been useful about having this problem. And on the other hand, how it's got the negative side, as you mentioned, with the money and the health part of it. And as you think about that, you remember seeing your father over the many years that you saw him, and the ways in which he smoked, and maybe how that influenced you, and maybe seeing yourself the way you have continued that within yourself, and how that progressed and developed into a habit. And but deep down you know that you are more than you think you are. You are more than this habit, because you have called it something separate from you that you don't want at the end of this. You don't want to smoke. You want to be free of it. You want to get rid of it. So there is a sort of like a separation there. And so maybe just have a look at that separation. There is you on one hand, that you got to know that you can be disciplined, that you were able to choose health food, and you were able to feel what it was doing for you, and feel that you weren't only enjoying it, but you were losing weight. And from what I can see, you've lost quite a lot of weight from the way I used to see you. And of course, as you said, it makes you feel good, and certainly makes you look good. So you are more than you think you are. But aside from that, and the way it was before, the world is never the way you want it to be. So you've seen yourself like one way in that world. And then when you started to change and you started to improve your food and have more healthier way of living. You saw a very different side of you that was capable of being self-regulated. And you mentioned how now it's about 7 or 8 compared to that part of you that is not regulated, that smokes, and what was that rating? That was rating was out of, it was about like 2 or 3, you said. So if we look at that part of you, it's sort of like not you, but it's just the way you've been going about it. So I'm going to give you maybe a little story now, so you can sort of have a look how when people are regulated and when people are not regulated. A long time ago, when I travelled and I was in Vanuatu, and I met this really good-looking guy, and he was quite a ladies' man, and I sort of got to know him a little bit, and I went up close to him, and I said, I could see by his face that he smokes a lot, and I said, how many do you smoke? And he goes, and he was just making fun of it, very carefree, you know, obviously not regulated, not self-regulated at all. And I said, how many do you smoke? And he goes, oh, you know, about a packet a day, or 10, or sometimes between 10 and a packet. It doesn't matter. And I thought, he's not going to listen. I'm not a therapist to him, but how can I help him? How can I bring to his attention that he's not going to be young forever, that the self-regulation maybe needs to be addressed while he's still young. And so I said to him, I said, you're a really good-looking guy. I said, but have you looked at your skin in the mirror closely? And he said, no, what's wrong with it? And I said, well, the more you smoke, the pores on your face get bigger and bigger. And I said, have you noticed how big the pores on your face are? It's not just what happens on the inside of you. It's not just your lungs that you can't see, but the pores on your face. And I said, have you noticed how smokers, their complexion starts to get a yellowy colour? Their fingers start to get a yellowy colour. And he stopped, and he paused. And I could see for the first time that this little, cheeky little larrikin smile on his face suddenly went serious. And he responded in a very interesting way that I've never forgotten. That's why I'm telling you this story. He said, oh, well, if it's going to, I can't have my looks being spoiled, he said. And I just had to giggle, because the most important thing to him was his looks. So I just thought that might be a nice thing for you to just have a think about that, and maybe see how that part of you that is disciplined, that knows, that wants to look good, not just for somebody else, but for yourself, that can pick you up and go, I want to be able to walk and run and go for my bushwalks whenever I want to. I want to jump up out of bed in the morning and go for a swim before I go to work, and maybe set that up as a nice routine that you can go and then keep it up even when the weather starts to cool down again. And just maybe have a look how much better you would feel about yourself as a result of that. Just see how different that would be, and maybe start to calculate how much money you're going to save that you could put away and go for a trip again sooner, and not just go for a week or two, but go for that longer period of time and be able to do that regularly, and tick off on the wall on a weekly basis how how much you are saving with your smoking, and start maybe to tally that up with the money you're saving towards your trip. So I'm going to maybe in a minute or two, I'm just going to be silent for you to sort of integrate all of that and see how that feels for you. See how that comes across about the changing world. Like, we can't change it on the outside, but the only part that we can change is on the inside. And the way you were then before, the girl that was carefree, but now you're choosing to discipline and eat well, and now you're going to be looking at yourself in the mirror and going, well, I'm going to have lovely rosy complexion from now on, and all the rosy complexion is going to stay rosy rather than getting older. I don't want to get older. So just see how this now feels compared to the way it was before, and maybe see how you might be looking forward to rating yourself and the new changes that you might like to see yourself moving towards, and saving money and looking forward to more holidays and planning and having more energy and more vitality and being so proud about yourself. So I'm just now going to pause now for a minute and allow you just to integrate all of that and see how you come to a sense and conclusion about moving forward from this. So I'm going to start the minute now, and just give yourself that minute to integrate what we've just spoken about, starting from now. And after having integrated it, see how in your own words you can feel that you can derive the value that you can wish for yourself from going through this little exercise, going through this little bit of hypnosis, and see what you can put together from this. Everything that I've said, and how you might want to add in a particular way for yourself with moving forward. So just bring all that into your forefront of your mind, and when you're clear, and see the way that you can now move forward to this new way of being, the new Bindi. And when you're ready, just slowly coming back again and opening your eyes when you're ready. So So how was that for you?
Very relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
Very tired.
Mm-hmm. You were tired? Okay. How do you feel now?
Tired.
Tired?
Yeah.
Were you tired before?
A little bit, yeah.
Tired before? Okay. So, any feedback? What was going through your mind as we were going through all those things and the story and everything?
Well, I kept laughing in my head because he kept saying self-regulating, and it kept making me think of like being regular at the toilet, that word. So whenever you said regulate, I'd think of that.
Okay. Did that translate at all to smoking?
No, it just made me laugh.
Okay.
I think if you had said self-discipline, then it would have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've never used the word regulate
I
as
see.
discipline.
Right.
So that made me laugh, but the story was good. And then the rest of it, I pretty much think I zoned out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good, because when you zone out, it really goes into your subconscious and sort of sorts things out a bit. And I'm guessing that you could be tired as a result, because when you zone out and a lot starts to go on back there, and it starts to put things into place. So I'll be very interested to hear how you're going to be going until I see you in a week's time, and how the difference this is going to make.
Yeah.
Okay. So the little exercise that I'm going to give you is for you to, as much as possible, to listen to all of this that we've gone through, the interview and this as well. And if you find that it might be, oh, I can't listen to it all, see if you can even listen to little bits of it here and there, because as you listen to it during this next week, and you listen to a little bit here and a little bit there, it'll trigger back for you about, how the reason that I've come here, the reason that we, set this up for your smoking.
Yeah.
And I'd also like you to write down, because in the hypnosis just now, I've mentioned about making a note of the cigarettes and the amount that you're not smoking a week or on a daily basis, and maybe start to add that up and have that as a bit of a tally.
Okay.
And maybe look forward to that tally as increasing for a holiday.
So should I say how many times I'm smoking and then try and lessen it every day, or?
Well, if you get a piece of paper and you write it down,
Okay.
because that way it'll be more something
Visual.
you can
Yeah.
visual, but something you can monitor,
Yeah.
and something that you can actually visually see the progress of how
Okay.
this is going.
Yeah.
Okay. And of course that'll trigger you to go, oh, this is actually happening.
Yeah.
This is actually, I'm actually doing this, and I'm actually, working with this.
Yeah.
Because in my life, every time when you see, and maybe also start to notice older smokers. When you're in the shopping centre, people who smoke a lot.
Yeah.
Have a look at their habit.
I
Have a
do.
look what they're doing as they're
Yeah.
smoking. Have a look how they're relating. Have a listen to their excuses. Have a listen and just sort of see, am I that person? And if you could just add some notes onto that as well, because that will help you bring out of the subconscious of, well, I don't think about it. Like when at the interview you were saying, I don't really think about it. And now this is going to get you to bring it out of that. I don't think about it, therefore, it's almost not relevant. It's never going to happen to me, by you noticing, and not just noticing, but you're writing it down.
Okay.
Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So see if you can really see the two bindis. The one that is disciplined, the one that is looking at the food, because that lunch that you made for me today was just, that's like a perfect disciplined lunch. Healthy and delightful and beautiful. And then that part of you that isn't disciplined, that part of you that goes, oh, I don't care, that out of 10 that was a 3, and that 3 was that 3 when you are smoking.
Yeah.
So see almost like when you're talking to yourself from the 3, and the Bindi that talks, and how you talk to yourself when you're the 7 and 8 and you're preparing your food. And see if that 7 or 8 can talk to this other one and go, okay, well, you don't have to do that. See if there's a dialogue.
Yeah.
Sound good?
There's just like a constant voice in my head saying, I want a cigarette, I want a cigarette, I want a cigarette.
Okay,
it
so
goes on all the time.
So can the one that's disciplined talk to the one that says, I want a cigarette?
I can try. I'll try it out for the next week.
So the one that says, I want a cigarette.
Well, yeah, it does, because it'll say, wait until after this, or...
The one that says, I want a cigarette, if you're to look at it, how old is that one that says, I want a cigarette? See if you can see that. See if this in the next week, the one that keeps nagging on a cigarette, see if you can see how old that one is. Like, is she like a naughty teenager? Like, is she the party girl? You know, and then see the one that's saying, but look what's going to happen to you. Look at the smokers, and see how she responds. Just try that out.
Okay.
And maybe assure her, or say, look, let's do things together, or let's do some fun things, and maybe the fun doesn't have to be restricted just to smoking, but let's do this instead.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying by you listening to this. Then it's going to trigger your mind to go, well, why don't I try this? Why don't I talk to this little teenager, talk to this, naughty one, and see whether she wants to join me and instead of the smoking, go for a swim. And you were doing yoga or something before, were you? Or you were going to the gym?
Yeah, I did for a while.
Yeah. And see whether she actually wants to go and do yoga. Let's see who's going to get stronger.
Okay.
Yeah? Is that a good thing for you to... Is that an idea?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think you'll be able to manage that?
Yeah.
Now, see if you can write it all down, because this writing down is not just for this session. It's kind of like, if you start writing it down, it'll help you to sort of see how well you can discipline yourself. And this discipline is going to translate into other things that you can actually do, and do faster and do better.
Yeah.
And, do other things in your life, and like, you wanted to write a book or something as well. I mean, you've written one little one, but, there's a lot more things that you can do when you start taking this disciplined part of you more seriously than this other naughty part.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see how we can work with that. Yeah?
Yeah.